Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be creating my January 2021 spreads, and the theme for this month that I decided to go with are koi fish. Koi fish have a lot of symbolism towards abundance and prosperity in a lot of East Asian culture. So I always am quite inspired by East Asian culture, so I chose watercolors for this work because I did try them out on this paper previously, and the paper does just really absorb them pretty quickly, so it was a good way to create a very patchy but very painterly look with watercolors. So I really enjoyed creating this one, and I chose to go with these a very simple color scheme with a little bit of turquoise and some yellow oranges, orange and red oranges. For this, I kept it pretty simple and did not overdo it. I wanted it to be simple. Like, the first page is pretty extravagant, but as you can see, I'm just layering all the watercolor. The worst part about this paper is it does not hold layering of watercolor until the paper is completely dry, so I had to wait a lot between spreading coats on it until the paper was completely dry, or it would come onto the other side of the paper. So as you can see, I'm just layering each color over and over to make it darker. It starts off pretty light, but layering it just helps make it darker and give that very rough patchy look, but it still looks painterly, and I kind of like I like the effect that this process gave out. I did end up breaking out of my comfort zone for this particular work because I do like a lot of smooth finish and something quite realistic, but this wasn't like that. It just had to be a bit more artistic in nature, and I didn't really outline these fish. So what I did was I just took some paint and gray and a little bit of black, and I went over with the fins, just giving a sense of it but not really outlining it, and a sense of that the fish is like a 3D object with a bit of... I try to focus maximum on the cover page because it was kind of like an important page, and I try to keep the other spreads here pretty simple and less decorative because I felt it would be too much to just do koi fish everywhere. However, one of my favorite spreads, as you'll see in the future, has been the weekly. I mean, I do love all of them. I just kind of went with my gut instinct with it. I was gonna keep it really simple, but then I ended up making it a bit, I don't know, it just started coming in and I just kept going with it. So I did do a lot of experimentation with the color scheme that I chose to use for this. I did have a rough idea that I wanted to go with orange and a bit of like, not a turquoise color, but I needed more variation, so I went with yellow, orange, red, orange, and shades of teal, turquoise, sorry. And on the left here, I have a code page. I kept the font fairly simple. I didn't want to overdo it. I kept it very minimalistic because the design was overpowering, and the code I chose to use for this one is "There are far better things ahead than any we leave behind" by C.S. Lewis. This felt a little bit apt because it was like the beginning of the year and we're leaving 2020 behind, although 2020 hasn't been a bad year, I would say, even though there have been sadness, but not a bad year because it's a year of learning. Now the next page is my monthly calendar, and I actually chose to do this top water scene where there are just shapes. I just drew round, any elliptical shapes, and I showed like the shadow of the waves because I've been really interested in this kind of work, but I've never done it before, so I decided this was a good opportunity to do it. And although the focus is more towards the turquoise color, I did add in a bit of orange into the spread just to balance it out a little bit, have that warmth. Now for this effect, what I did was I added in the paint, and then I took tissue paper, more likely kitchen towel, because they're more absorbent, and I dabbed it on and picked off the color, which made it dry pretty quickly. And I took like a darker shade of turquoise, more like a teal color, which I made pretty easily with white, cerulean blue, and viridian green. And I did these patterns and I kept it pretty random. I really didn't think much while doing it. They were just random shapes that I kept drawing, and they were like squiggly lines. So it ended up looking pretty simple, nice, and I didn't overdo it because I didn't want to do the fish on every single page. It would have been too much, because I was gonna do tiny fish on the next page, the one next to it, but I didn't want to do any on this, so I kept it purely water based. And as you can see, I'm using my Staedtler Triplus orange pen to write down the dates and the days of the week, and I kept it pretty simple. I'm sorry for the choppy video. My tripod was just shaky at this point, and I don't know what happened to it. It was like it wasn't stable enough. Now the next page, that is going to be my monthly goals and affirmations page. I decided to do both on one page because I probably wouldn't have too much during the month, and I like to write affirmations. Even at first I wanted to do them daily, but I felt it was a bit too much, and I chose to do them on a monthly basis and write monthly affirmations. On the other hand, it's a good practice to keep up with what you want. And also, as you can see here, I did this really wave kind of a shape, and I outlined the koi fish because they were too small, and I used my Staedtler Triplus again to just add in the bit of orange, and I wasn't really satisfied with the orange, so I added a bit of red later on. And here you can see I'm just using the same font really everywhere, just going with a bit of calligraphy and keeping it very, very simple with the font. And just so the next two pages are my habit tracker and my mood tracker. Now here I did paint a black koi fish, which again has a different meaning, the black and white one, and they all symbolize different things. Each color of koi fish symbolizes a different thing. I did it because I wanted a bit more of a different shade to it, because even though the blue, the teal, or the turquoise, I would say, was going to be there in the spread, I didn't want to keep it very monotonous and go only with the orange at all times, orange and red at all times. So the black was like a little break, and I added these shadows to the fish, like you're looking at the fish from the top and you can see them, and little spots of teal everywhere. Now I didn't want more blue in this because the next page was going to be pretty filled up. Now I did do individual habit trackers because I feel that is something I would want to do rather than have one habit tracker for everything. This seems a bit more easier for me as well. So I did multiple habits that I decided, and I haven't filled up the entire page because I wanted to leave some space to add in any more habits that I may want to track in the future. I'm pretty unsure about them as of yet, so I left some space. I didn't do any artwork, but if there is ample amount of space left, I might just add in a bit more of the turquoise color at the bottom in strokes and keep it pretty simple again. I don't want to overdo it because the next page is like filled with 31 koi fish. So I decided to track my meditation, my exercise or dancing, YouTube, my skincare. I do have 2 ones for my skincare, because I do want to track 2 different skincares separately. Now my mood tracker, I decided to do 31 koi fish, and I did outline them, which is something that I don't always do. I don't like to outline a lot of things because they make it look very graphic, and I prefer a more realistic look. So, but this one was specifically for the mood tracker, so I decided to outline all of these fish and make their fin, and I would probably color it in with a specific color depending on the mood. And I did enjoy drawing all of these fish from all different angles. It was fun, but it wasn't really difficult or hard to do once you have an idea of what the fish looks like from every angle and where to draw the eyes. I didn't draw any shapes because I decided I would do them with the color that I was doing for the specific, and I would just keep it random. I didn't want to, like, you know, restrict myself towards it, so I did some small, some big, and I decided to make it into this very flowy thing, and all the fish heading towards one corner of the paper, which is gonna be kind of like a puddle, like when you throw in something and the ripple effect comes in, which I will be doing a bit later in this video. I will be adding the materials that I used in this video in the description box down below. So here you can see I use 5 colors. Although there are no yellow koi fish, I'm gonna change that in the future. Now, as you can see here, I'm creating a very simple ripple effect that's not gonna cover the entire page, but just the section and spreading into the fish, and very rough. Now the final spread for this month is going to be my weekly spread, and I just decided to do again 2 fish on the top, going with the flow through in one direction this time. Now I did use a rolling weekly spread for my weeklies because I often tend to soft schedule a lot of tasks which I am unable to finish during the particular day, because I tend to have, probably life just gets in the way very often, as it always does. So here you can see I've just added simple strokes of teal, very simple. I did not want to overdo this spread at all because I just wanted it to look simple, and I was thinking of adding a coat at the bottom, but I decided not to add the coat at the bottom, and I decided to keep the spread vertical. It does have a lot more space to keep all my events in check for myself on for the days of the week. And on the right side, I did add the task list with the days of the week, so I can keep it simple, and if I want to migrate any tasks, it's really easy and not very difficult. And now for the final flip through. This is one of my favorite cover pages. It's simple, but it's beautiful. I love how this page has turned out. I love every single page in the spread, so don't get it wrong. I cannot wait to fill it up and see what it turns out to be. when I do. And that's it for this video. Don't forget to give this video a big like, comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you next time. Bye!